Are muted. You're still muted. You are muted on your end.
Okay, can you hear us now, Susan?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Hi. Sorry, Tammy's down here, but you're up there.
Hi, guys. Hi.
No, that's Fabian Cousteau. All right.
So do you guys want to introduce yourself? We've mentioned who all of you are, but if you want to just do a quick introduction of who is who there.
So, hello, Boston Museum of Science. My name is Sarah Williams, and I'm a research technician at Northeastern University.
I'm Amanda Dwyer, and I'm a PhD student at Northeastern University, and we both work in Dr. Mark Patterson's lab. And I'm Grace Young. I just graduated from MIT, and I'm an aquanaut right now on Mission 31.
We are very excited to be talking to you from 20,000 millimeters under the sea at the world's only undersea laboratory, Aquarius, as part of Fabian Cousteau's Mission 31.
That's great.
Great. Do you guys want to wave? They can see. Can you see the audience? Okay, kind of.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Yeah, we're all from the Boston area, so we've been there. We've been right where you are.
Yep. Yep. So for the past 2 weeks, Amanda and I have been a part of the Northeastern Surface team working on Mission 31 science. As a research tech, I get to work on a lot of the different projects, but my main project is focused on how corals respond to environmental stress. So I've been diving down every day to the habitat with a special underwater system to measure oxygen dynamics in corals. And corals, where'd the cord go? Oh. So corals are facing a lot of hazards in the oceans today. There's global warming, or ocean acidification, and rising sea level temperatures are causing corals to get really stressed out. And we are measuring how environmental stress affects the corals. So if you guys don't know, a coral reef is formed by many colonies of corals. And each coral, a coral is actually an animal, not a plant or a rock. And each coral has many polyps, which are identical units, part of the coral. And we are looking at how these polyps are connected and how they react to environmental stresses together. They can work together to respond to stress. So my lab in particular is interested in the gastrovascular system of a coral. And the gastrovascular system is how the coral is connected by different tubes and canals. So there's two types of coral gastrovascular systems. There's an imperforate coral and a perforate coral. Imperforate corals are only connected to each other when each polyp is expanded, and only to their nearest neighbors. Perforate corals, however, have canals that connect each polyp to one another throughout the whole skeleton of a coral, so they can better share resources when they're stressed out. So what we've been doing while we're down here at Mission 31 is working with this really cool Unisense underwater meter system and associated oxygen microsensors. And these microsensors are really thin glass probes that are thinner than a human's hair. So they're very, very fragile. And what we do is we actually put these glass microsensors inside of a coral's mouth and measure what's going on inside of that coral gastrovascular system. So every day I've been diving down.
What does it mean for a coral to have a mouth?
A mouth?
Yeah.
So corals have mouths just like us.
Yeah.
Each polyp has its own mouth,
Yeah.
and that's ringed by tentacles, and they can actually grab food and bring it down into their mouth. But they also have symbiotic algae that they can photosynthesize with that gives them extra energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, which is really cool. And the mouths are really, really tiny, and the probes are really, really tiny. So I have to use this special magnifying headwear underwater to be able to see what I'm doing.
It's really cool.
It does look really cool. I'm like especially nerdy. Yeah. So every day we go down, I dive with this special headgear, and I put the probe into this little micro manipulator, which is this fancy tool that allows me to move the probe around with very, very fine adjustments. And then I get it inside of the coral, and we leave it there for 24 hours or so to get some really cool data. No one's ever done this research before, so it's really awesome to get a really good 24/7-hour period of what's going on inside of the coral. And by looking at these oxygen dynamics inside coral, we can better understand how they're responding to environmental stressors. So one of these environmental stressors that you may have heard about is coral bleaching, which is an event where corals actually expel their symbiotic algae that live inside their skin when the ocean waters get too hot or it's too bright for them. And so when they do this, they often have to rely on catching external prey food sources like zooplankton. And I'll turn it over to Amanda now to talk about her research on zooplankton.
Yes. Oh, perfect. So that's actually one of the
Where did that come from?
Right? Yeah, we were hoping to show you guys one of these through the window, and we didn't. So it's great that you have one
Brian
there.
Helmuth through the window.
Oh, yeah, here's some more of our topside team that you can see.
And Francis Choi.
And Brian Helmuth, yep. But I use those traps to help see what zooplankton are coming up at night off the reef. So like Sarah was saying, with coral bleaching, there are some studies that show that corals can recover from bleaching events by switching their diet more heavily on zooplankton. But unfortunately, there isn't a lot of research now on zooplankton and where they are on the reef, and if that's going to be a sustainable solution for corals to actually recover. So during this mission, while Grace and Liz have been down here, we've been getting different samples during the day and at night of the zooplankton. So these traps are set up by the aquanauts every night. And what we do know about zooplankton is that during the day, they stay at the bottom of the ocean to protect themselves from getting eaten by fish. And then they swim up to the top of the reef during the night when it's darker at the top, and that's when they're able to feed on phytoplankton or algae, which is at the top of the ocean. So they swim up into those jars, and then in the morning the aquanauts swim and collect the jars, and then on our surface team, when we dive down, then we collect the jars and process them on the boat during the day.
Oh, didn't you bring some zooplankton to
And
show
so
everybody?
this is what we do. Put it up closer to the camera. So this is some of the plankton that we collected today, actually from one of our surface tows, which we do. So just from the boat, we bring a plankton net and see what plankton is at the top, and we also swim the plankton net straight down from the surface and see the representation of the whole water column in the ocean. And then also during the day, the aquanauts swim a tow during the day through 3 different hikes for 50 meters, so right over the bottom, and then 1 meter higher, and then at 2 meters over the bottom. So that gives us a good idea of what zooplankton are on the reef during this 2-week period, which is some pretty exciting data to have.
Right.
For lots of things, as well as just what can recover from bleaching. And there's a really, I don't know if you guys can see the eagle ray.
Yeah,
So
there's
we
an
have the
eagle right
window?
outside the window right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's 2
way
of
out.
them. Yeah,
There's
this isn't too bad.
Do you guys want to take a couple questions?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take questions.
So what's your name? What's his name? Okay, we have Raphael. How old are you, Raphael? He's 4.5.
Hi,
And-
Raphael.
Hi, Raphael.
Very excited. What's your question?
How do you get down to the space station?
How do you get down to the space station?
So Amanda and I actually scuba dive down to Aquarius, which is the world's only inner space station. So we have a big tank on our back, which is attached to a BCD, which it's kind of like a life jacket. So our life jacket keeps our tank on, and then we swim down.
Yep, I got here the same way. We swam down with scuba gear. That's scuba gear. You guys are awesome with the props.
Thank you,
They
Ivan.
just show up in the screen.
Apparently that's the one from the 3Cs group. They were wondering where it was, and then it turned out we have it here.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the gear we use to get down here.
So does anyone have any other questions about them down there? Okay. What's your name?
Justin.
This is Justin.
Hi, Justin.
Hi, Justin.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah.
What's your question?
How deep is the sea going?
How deep are you? How deep is it?
See.
The sea floor where we're at is about 62 feet deep, and the habitat itself, though, is raised a bit off the sea floor. So right now we're at 46.1 feet, and there's a monitor on the wall that shows our depth. The depth changes slightly each day based on the waves and the tide above us, but about 46 feet.
Are there any other questions?
That's like a
Oh,
fourth-
yep.
fourth building.
I'm Charles, and I have a question about what location are you underwater, like near what coast or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Where are you guys? We haven't said where off Florida there.
Yeah, so we're a couple miles off of Key Largo, Florida. Off of Key Largo.
Do you guys ever swim further away to a deeper place? Like, do you ever go down any deeper than where you are?
So
Are they, like, from Aquarius?
from our dives for the surface team, we've been around 63 feet is our maximum depth that we've been diving around the habitat. Grace, have you been out any deeper on any of your excursions?
Yeah, most of our work we've been doing close to the habitat, so we haven't gone too much deeper than like 60, 70 feet. But we can. You can go up to a little over 100 feet around here on the dives we're doing.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions? Yep.
What specific species of sea creatures are you studying?
All right. So right now, I'm looking at coral, which is closely related to jellyfish, actually. They're cnidarians. And they're kind of, if you've looked at pictures of reefs, there's those rock plant-like things, but they're actually animals. And we're specifically looking at Montastria cavernosa, which is called the massive star coral. And Amanda, you're looking at...
Yeah, so I'm looking at, this is LinkedIn again. So these are, basically, you can kind of see them, but basically microscopic animals that live in the ocean. So that's what I'm studying. And I'm looking at, I have this high-speed video camera, so I'm looking at creatures that move really, really fast, and then this special camera allows us to see their super quick motions in slow motion. I'm looking at, for example, fish fins that are moving really fast. We're trying to catch the grouper. It's a giant 300-pound fish as it's feeding.
It's bigger than Amanda here.
Yeah, it's bigger than all of us.
It's bigger than all of us.
Some of us are more than 300 pounds. They trying to film that motion.
And what are the eagle rays out? I heard they were telling us the other day there's eagle rays.
There's 7 of them that are
circling outside of them. Have you seen them from the surface team? Have you guys seen them?
Yeah, so they're very curious. They keep coming after us.
Coming really close.
Oh, it is.
Okay, let's bring them right here. Oh, they just went over the that camera shot.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
We've seen them for 28 days straight, which is extraordinarily unusual considering they're pelagics.
Yeah, they've been circling the habitat for pretty much all of Mission 31. So they've been very curious, and they'll just come swim or circles around us all day while we're doing our dives and our science. Yeah.
So are you guys going to get to do any science down there today, or are you down there just to talk to us?
Well, today we couldn't blow all of our bottom time on doing any other science dives, so Amanda and I are just down here to talk to you guys. So it's a very special event, and we're excited to be down here.
Yay!
But we've been doing science all day, every day, pretty much for the past 2 weeks, and we do 2 to 3 dives a day, where we're down, anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes on each dive. Yeah.
So what's each of your favorite things to do down there? So Grace, you've been living. So what's your favorite? And then for the topside divers, what's the best part for you?
I really enjoy spending so much time in the water because we're saturated. We can spend hours, over 6 hours a day in the water. And I love being able to observe how the ecosystems around the reef change in the period of an hour or a few hours. And I enjoy this because I really like the research we're doing and the experience of the adventure of it all living underwater. So every moment is a big thrill for me.
Yeah, my project, like I said, a lot of it's done by the aquanauts, so I get the opportunity of helping other people. So it's really cool to see all the different research that our topside team is doing, the microsensors and getting it set up, and then Allie's sponge work and using the cameras and videotaping what's going on.
Yeah. I think my favorite part so far is actually working with my very fragile glass probes and getting it inside of the coral's mouth. It's really hard to do, especially because we've been having some very fast currents go by. And so I'm having to stand there, or I guess swim there, very, very slow and hover right over my coral, my very fragile, very expensive glass microsensors, which is terrifying. But the last couple dives, I've actually been able to get the probe tip, which is actually thinner than your hair, inside of the coral's mouth. And that's been very exciting and very different than the lab work that I've been doing.
It's fun to watch you. She's like a surgeon underwater.
I am. I'm like an underwater brain surgeon.
Yeah.
I think they're coming up right now.
Oh.
So you can see it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so in a couple minutes, we're actually going to have the aquanauts bring up my underwater Unisense microsensor system.
Yep,
And
there's
here's Liz Bentley McGee, our diving safety officer at Northeastern's Marine Science Center, one of the aquanauts scientists. Oh, and I see my underwater meter system coming up, almost here. So here it is. You can actually see. It's like a little box like that, about that big. And right over there is one of the very broken probes, actually. I think one of the Goliath groupers knocked it over the other day. I'm not very happy with him. And those glass tubes right there, those are the microsensors. Yeah, and then there's the underwater meter system. Yeah, where was? Hello. Yeah.
Oh, cool. We're gonna wait. Hold on, Liz. We were gonna look through Liz's camera for 1 second.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Liz.
Ryan, can you ask Liz?
Hold on 1 second. We can't actually yell through the glass. It's really thick. Oh, we actually have one of Amanda's plankton traps.
Yeah. So you guys got to see one up close and personal at the museum, but here's one of the ones that's underwater.
Okay. So they can't see us so we're, actually, I guess you can see us. We're looking at, through Liz's camera right now. So we're seeing you're waving at us through the glass.
Oh, yeah. Look through the glass. I'm sure you can see it. Can you see through the glass? Yeah, so here is the underwater meter system again with the very fragile
so it's the
glass.
exact same thing we've got here.
Yeah. Susan, can you guys see us?
Yeah, we're looking through Liz's camera.
Oh, well then we'll wave.
So we're in the water looking in at you right now.
Funny.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, let's see if we can get them to switch it back over to our camera so you guys can see it through the viewport.
Okay, switch it back.
You see our bowl of M&Ms?
Yeah.
M&Ms! Liz just got real excited. It's like taunting her.
Yeah, but where is it? No, that is it. Is that it? That's not it. This is it. You got it? Okay, we're getting your picture back up, but you can still hear us.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, you can keep talking to us because we can still hear you.
Okay.
We're just not looking at you. We were looking at the FIU website. So.
Oh. All right. So Amanda, what is?
Done with Liz?
Hmm?
I'm done with Liz.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we switch it back to our video?
Yes, you are.
Oh, they are.
We've got 3 computers going, guys. Give a
You guys
They have
like
one there. They have one.
We have one there. It's okay. Thank you.
No.
Take me there.
Oh, we can hear her talking for one time. So it's been really funny this whole time with Liz and Grace on their helmets, and they'll be trying to talk to us, but we can't hear them through their comm system. They can talk to each other, but all we hear is this really high-pitched blur, like under the water. And so it hasn't been working, and underwater communication is really tough when you're just scuba diving. We have slates that we write on, but sometimes I'll hear Dr. Patterson just kind of going off through his regulator, and I can almost tell what he's saying.
Yeah, he tries to talk to us all the time.
He tries to talk all the time. Yeah.
I'm not close to understanding.
Is your voice set higher under that? Because we can't really tell, but supposedly your voice gets kind of higher in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're breathing compressed air, so there's odd little things like we can't whistle.
What happens if you...
You can whistle a little bit.
whistle?
I can do it.
Sarah can whistle.
I can whistle.
Never mind.
All right, sorry to prove that very wrong, guys.
Normal people cannot whistle.
Yeah. Are there any other questions from our audience? Here, we've got one back here. Yeah?
For those living under the water for 31 days, how long will it take you to decompress?
18 hours. Yeah, actually, the decompression time is the same whether or not you've been living underwater for a day or a week or 31 days. It takes us 18 hours. During that time, our bodies become acclimated slowly from living at 2.5 atmospheres to 1 atmosphere of pressure.
Okay, we have another one here.
Hi, what do we know about the effects of human activity on the ocean ecosystem at greater depths? And could you foresee a project like this one, but that would be stationed at a much deeper part of the ocean floor?
Well, I know things get a lot harder to study as we go deeper because of the pressure and the extreme environments. And I know not much has been done, and I'm sure we don't know very much about the deep ocean right now. More of outer space has been explored than inner space. So
yeah, the deep ocean is extra challenging because the deeper you go, the darker it gets, the harder it is to reach from the surface.
And right now, our air, our electricity, our internet are supplied from a buoy on the surface. And those cables, they'd have to go even deeper to get to where we would be on this seafloor. We also are dependent on surface divers that bring us food, and they help repair the habitat. And because we're 60 feet deep, they only have a bottom time of about 45 minutes. If we were even deeper, their bottom time would be like 20 minutes. So that's not even enough really to do some maintenance work. There's a lot of extra challenges. But people have lived in habitats that have been deeper. I know there was one at 80 meters. I forget which one that was.
Okay.
And there's been some deeper ones. Like commercial divers do deep work in the really deep sea in diving bells and things. So it's possible. It's not comfortable, and we definitely have a lot to do to improve underwater living.
But it would be really cool to actually have a habitat deeper in the ocean as technology progresses.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the animals living down there must be so crazy. It's like nothing we've ever seen.
Okay, we've got another question over here. What's your name?
VJ. How do you get to the underwater place? Like, do you ride a boat to get actually to get to the place?
Yeah.
So
So
you take a boat out. Huh? You take a boat out from the. You don't have to swim all the way from shore.
Yeah, no, we don't swim all the way. If we swim all the way, we'd be too tired to dive. Yeah, so we take a boat out from Aquarius Reef Base every day, and it's about a 45-minute boat ride. And it's really nice, but Amanda gets pretty seasick.
Yeah.
So she's been fighting that, but she's been a trooper getting her zooplankton samples taken care of out on the boat every day.
Yeah, so it's good that we have a boat too, because besides being a tiring swim, we do about 3 dives a day, and in between each dive you have to have about an hour of surface interval between your dives. So then we're on the boat during that time, and that's when I process my samples.
Okay, are there any other, we got a question in the back here.
Amanda, this is Emma and Simon, and we just want to say hi to you.
Hi, Emma. Hi, Simon. Oh, fun.
Are there any other questions? Yep, we got one here.
How do you get the air supply in the actual Aquarius?
Yeah, is it sent down or is it made down there?
It's sent down. We have air compressors on the surface that will send down air. And there's also storage tanks outside that are big cylinders that store extra air. So we have our primary air supply that's in the habitat, and we have a secondary air supply just in case something goes wrong with our primary air supply. We'll be fine.
So are you mostly doing a lot of collection of data now, and then you'll go back and I guess do months and years worth of processing now and analyzing everything you've gotten?
Yeah, so Amanda started looking at some of her samples.
So we brought shipped a couple of microscopes down. So I've done just looking at a couple samples and taking pictures of some cool things. Another thing that I'm looking at that's pretty cool is that we have a dye that will stain the samples, so we can tell what was alive and what was dead when we collected them before we put them into preservation. So it is known that there are a lot of so-called zombie copepods, so there can be lots of carapaces or dead copepods going through the ocean. And so without the stain, when I'm going through my samples, I wouldn't know which ones were really alive or dead. So that adds a different kind of time constraint. So I'll be hoping to get through all of my samples by the end of August.
Yeah, I guess working with live animals like that, you need to work faster.
And all of my data from the underwater meter system, I just plug in a cable and download it straight to the computer. And it's a little bit tricky. The time and date stamp has gotten a little off, so I have to go back through my notes and really rigorously figure out what's going on. But it's cool because we can see kind of the respiration and photosynthesis cycle that the corals are having with that oxygen dynamics inside of their coral stomachs really well, just looking at the data, the raw data.
We do have a question here.
How does one decompress?
That's a good question. What do you do to decompress?
I'm going to take that one. So the air inside the habitat goes from being compressed at 2.5 times the pressure of air on the surface. Slowly it comes to 1 atmosphere of pressure. So the air becomes less dense, less pressurized. And while the air is changing the pressure, we are also breathing special mixtures of gases to make sure our bodies are acclimating okay. I think we breathe extra oxygen for a little bit to help our bodies release some of that
nitrogen that's absorbed in our system.
How about the surface team? Do you have to do anything special or just slowly go back to the surface and wait?
Yeah, so you swim up very, very slowly. You don't want to go up more than like a foot a second, basically, when you're swimming up from a dive. And then at about 15 feet, we stop and hang on to a line for about 3 minutes to let all that extra nitrogen and stuff come out of our bodies. And then we wait on the boat for another hour or so before we go down for another dive. If we went back right after, then our allowable bottom time would be much shorter.
Okay. Oh, question.
Can you feel the adjustment when you are acclimating back to surface air pressure? Do you feel anything like fizziness or I don't know if you burp
If you
more?
go slow enough, so my ears are pretty sensitive as well. So when I'm going back up, sometimes you can kind of feel
feel the pressure change.
Yeah.
Like when you can feel the change in depth, but you don't really feel the gases that are kind of going in and out of your body as you're scuba diving.
Yeah, if you're doing it right, you won't feel. If you're doing it wrong, there's actually bubbles that'll come that are compressed in your blood when you're deep, and then when you raise too fast, I heard you can like feel and hear the bubbles going in your joints. But that's if you're doing it really wrong.
That's when it's called decompression sickness or the bends, if you guys have heard of that.
Yeah. So fortunately, none of us have felt that way.
Okay. Are there any other questions out here? I don't know. So anything else you guys want to tell us about what you've, are you going right back to the surface now after this?
I think we've got about 10 minutes or so to call some people or get a tour of the habitat, which will be really cool.
Is this your first time on the habitat during all your short dives?
Yeah, this is our first time inside.
Yeah, this is my first time ever inside.
And I came in and visited Sylvia Earle and Mark Patterson back in Mission Aquarius in summer of 2012. So it's really neat to be back.
Oh. Has it changed very much?
Not much. There's still a lot of buttons on the walls. Yeah. So do you think we could turn it around so everyone else can see everything? Here, we'll go and give you a little 360 tour of where we're sitting.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right now we're at the kitchen table, I guess, and there's the walls of different buttons. There's Otter. Otter can wave. He's one of the habitat technicians. And there's the wall of buttons I was talking about, and the kitchen sink. Yeah, with all their dishes. Yeah. So.
Where's the bunk room? Is that behind you?
The bunk room is back here. Can you guys see?
In there, really tight quarters. 3 bunks on each side. Backed all the way to the ceiling.
How is that going?
It's fine. I sleep really deeply. That's good. I'm probably the worst. I probably snore and like talk in my sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys all so much. You guys want to give a round of applause to our aquanauts here?
Yeah. Oh, and before we go, Amanda and I just wanted to give a shout out to our mom and dad, and to say that my dad's the coolest, and thank you. Yep. All right.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, can we do that?
Liz was leaving her phone somewhere. It was on our bed.
Can I use the Skype on this computer? Is that okay?
Here's the phone if you want to call it. I think that's only for, what do they call it?
Mark texted to put my mom's number in here.
Did you show your little plankton sample?
Yeah, I did. I didn't realize they look like that after you're done sampling them. Yeah, this one's the surface one, so there's a lot of phytoplankton in it, but what do you think? We noticed there's a lot of jellyfish.
Here's the phytoplankton. You identify.
You guys been seeing ctenophores? Is it not this stuff? No. It's different. They look like worms. You can, I don't want to distract you.
Okay.
But on here they look like.
You can do your call first. Yeah, it's not on here. Okay, do your call.
Okay, I'll do my call really quick.
No, it's not on.
Uh-oh. Oh, it's a video my dad left with the eagle. Oh my gosh. Hello. Can you see me and hear me?
I can.
Yeah. Hey, I'm like 50 feet underwater right now.
I know.
Yeah.
And, I think you got to tell everybody how cool your dad was.
I did. Did you like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do I get an allowance now?
No.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So that was it?
That was
Good
it.
job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was fun. And here's Amanda, too. Amanda can wave.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Amanda.
Can you see outside right now? There's well, the eagle rays aren't coming by right now, unfortunately. But, yeah. Oh. Is Tim and Nancy there, too?
No, they're down on the beach.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Huh?
You guys have about 10 more minutes before you have to go up? Huh?
Yeah, about 10 more minutes. That was a quick call. Did it feel quick watching it?
Yeah, it went by quick.
Okay.
It was almost 40 minutes.
Yeah, almost. Oh, were we on the video screen before we started talking?
No.
Hey, look, Dad.
See? At 49 feet.
Mm-hmm. 45.8. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, look, there's an aquanaut. Yeah, there's Liz. Hey, see Liz?
Oh, where the heck is she? She's probably out shopping.
No,
This is my
they're
dad.
watching. I think she doesn't know how to do it.
Liz says hi.
Were they at the museum?
All right.
She's not answering.
Oh, and Amanda can't get a hold of her mom.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Well, this is great.
Yeah.
Did you find out when I get to come down there?
I don't know. Otter, when can my dad come down? He wants to move down here.
When I retire.
When Otter retires, he can come down.
Probably any day now.
Yeah, so this is Otter, Dad.
Which is probably any day now.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
How do I do that?
So, this is Aquarius, if you can see it.
I know. Just make sure I get my invitation before you leave.
Okay, I'll try.
Hi.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go now, and I'll call you later tonight. Okay?
Love you.
Okay, love you too. Thank you. Bye, Dad. Guys, look. Oh my gosh, this video he left.
Hi.
There?
Oh,
They lose her?
yeah. Hi. Here's Liz. And Sarah.
Hi. Nice to see you guys again.
This is the habitat. And Otter.
Hello.
This is whose phone I'm using. This is what we get to see. Could you hear us okay? Yeah, I see Clover.
This is so exciting.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
But you can hear everything okay on the computer? Okay, look at my puppy.
Aw, look at your puppy.
Francis wanted to swim by, but he already did when we were on here. But yeah, there's lots of eagle rays, but I don't know if they're